Hi, my name's Adora, and today I will be talking about endangered plants. Plants are vital to every human's daily life. Whether they provide the air we breathe, are being digested for nutritional value, or providing basic health care, plants are important. Unfortunately, certain plant types are being threatened, and the human population is a major reason why. Construction, medical usage, and foreign pests are all factors that we contribute to this dilemma. Today I will be providing information and an overview of these three factors and why they are harmful to plants. The first one is construction. Continuous development of forested regions have some seriously negative effects on the ecosystems that live there. Certain plants are very rare and confined to the environments that they grow in, which makes them difficult to relocate. So in turn, a lot of people would try to preserve them, but conservation is also a lot of the time unsuccessful because they're not actually considering the pollinators. The pollinators usually live on surrounding areas and will be excluded from the conservation, so they can't actually get to their food source. Also, if the plant is growing in a valuable territory, a lot of the times their rarity will be overlooked. So if they're growing somewhere where it's popular for a housing construction, or if they contain certain minerals or landscape rock, they will be uprooted. According to the USDA, loss of native plant habitat is most often the principal reason why plants become endangered. They also say the most common cause of plant habitat loss and subsequent plant rarity and endangerment is conversion of native plant habitat to cities, farms, roads, and regulated flow river systems and reservoirs. So basically, these rare plants are being uprooted from their environments and being turned into cities, farms, roads, etc., and not relocated to grow. Medicine is another key factor, and that's due to its high demand. There is an extremely intense demand for plants for medical use, which leads to an overharvesting issue. Chinese medicine says there are over 1,300 medicinal plants used in Europe, of which 90% are harvested from wild resources. In the United States, about 118 of the top 150 prescription drugs are based on natural resources. So basically, most of the prescription drugs sold today are being created from plants, but 90% of those plants are being harvested. They're not being grown in a controlled environment such as a lab, they're actually being uprooted from where they grow. Another issue is that many underdeveloped countries solely rely on herbal medicine to support their health care for their entire community and themselves. So they only rely on these plants for everything that they need. Chinese medicine also says that a highly conservative estimate states that the current loss of plant species is between 100 and 1,000 times higher than the expected natural extinction rate, and that the Earth is losing at least one potential major drug every 2 years, and that is due to the high demand of plants for medical use. The final contributing factor are invasions, and these invasions are being made by invasive species. Invasive species are any living organism foreign to the environment that they're in and are causing harm. The transferring of foreign pests to sensitive ecosystems have greatly influenced the deterioration of rare plant survival. The National Wildlife Federation states approximately 42% of threatened or endangered species are at risk primarily due to invasive species. These species spread by humans through ships. Aquatic pests will travel on ships to different locations. Wood, insects like to live in wood, and then they'll end up in places they shouldn't be. Ornamental plants will end up escaping and regrowing in different environments. And pet trading, whether it's intentional or accidental, a lot of people will buy or acquire pets that are foreign to where they're living, and then the responsibility will be too great, or the animals will grow too large, and they'll just get rid of them. A great example of that is the Everglades. A lot of people are buying snakes such as boa constrictors and ball pythons, and then they're getting too big, also iguanas, and then they're letting them go in people's backyards, which is causing this huge problem of these competitive reptiles in a foreign place. An article called Invasive Species also gives a great example. It says lake trout are native to the Great Lakes but are considered to be an invasive species in Yellowstone Lake in Wyoming because they compete with native cutthroat trout for habitat. So even though these are trout living with other trout, they are considered invasive because they didn't originate there, and they're out competing the native trout for food sources. These pests will also cause issues because they'll eat the native habitants. Again, they'll outcompete for food. They carry diseases that kill off the native habitants, and they prevent the natural plants from regrowing. So in conclusion, we as humans have to work side by side with nature to find a happy medium. It's important to take care of our environment because in the end it will become our disadvantage when we have little to no resources left and the ecosystems that we rely on are non-existent. Everyone has a part in turning this epidemic around, and whether it's as simple as being educated or starting a global or conservation organization, everyone can help.